This idea that babies are destroying the earth concerns me. Behold and beware of the babies. We're going to talk about this again today. Hello, this is January the 4th, and you are listening to All Things Apostolic. You never know exactly what you're going to hear each day when you tune in to All Things Apostolic, but you can rest assured it's going to be interesting and good. So we are glad to have you today. Yesterday, we started on our subject, which is terrifying, and the subject is help. Babies are destroying the earth. And so today we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But before we do, I want to tell you about next Wednesday and Thursday. What is that? That's January the 10th and the 11th. We have Jennifer Barrett is going to be doing All Things Apostolic. She's doing a little special deal here for those 2 days. Dr. Barrett is the Executive Vice President of Wilson University and an outstanding scholar, finishing up her doctorate with the biblical studies at Faulkner University. And so she is going to also have an interview. Now, I don't know which is first on Thursday and who's going to get interviewed on Friday or on Wednesday and who's going to get interviewed on Thursday. Maybe both. Whatever they're doing, I'm not sure. But she also has 2 people that know about the subject. The subject is the impact of social media on the health of Gen Z generation. Okay? And this has actually now become called a health crisis, the impact of social media on Gen Zers. So this is it's a very vital subject, a very interesting subject. One of the people that she's going to be discussing this with is Beth Baus. Beth Baus, who's a marriage and family counselor, also has had her own nonprofit for people who have addictions, which certainly social media is now very obviously included in that category, and has dealt with people with very severe and difficult challenges on a very granular level. So you don't want to miss the discussion between Jennifer and Beth. Then she's also going to have, I don't know which order this will be in, an interview with Boston Young, who is a youth pastor of one of the largest youth groups, church youth groups in Apostolic Pentecost. So, and he is completing his doctorate also, and his dissertation is on Gen Zers and leadership. In that, there's a part of that where he discusses Gen Zers and social media. So he's done significant research on all of this. And so they're going to be bringing all of this to you. It's going to be very interesting. So you don't want to miss it. It's next Wednesday and next Thursday right here on All Things Apostolic. That's on January 10th and January 11th. So mark it on your calendar. It's going to be great. All of these people are they're apostolic people, but all of these people are people with a very, very significant degree of understanding in these areas. So this is going to be a help to anyone who wants to tune in, and we encourage you to do so. Amen. So what we've been talking about is there's a threat in the earth, and it's babies. Babies, they haven't collaborated to do this, but babies are getting together to destroy the earth. In fact, there's a very recent article and a book being written about this also, I understand, but there's been a number of articles written. I don't know about the book. I don't know what the name is, or maybe, I don't even know if it'll get written, but there's a lot of articles about this, that babies are a threat. One little baby is a threat to climate change, to an overheating earth. I don't know if it's the temperature of that baby that's emanating heat or what, but whatever it is, it's a threat. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday And I gave you some data where people are serious about this, where one woman was going to have a baby and her and her husband really contemplated it because they felt guilt because they were going to contribute to the demise of the earth by having a baby, which is like folks, can I just use real theological language for this? That's just like Looney Tune stuff. The earth is made for humans. It's made for humans. And humans are to live on the earth. Now, I do believe in stewardship of the earth. I do believe that. But by the same token, if you have an earth with no people, the earth loses its meaning when there's no people. Because there are people who have theorized that the earth would be better off if there were no humans. Well, the earth wouldn't be better off if they're part of the purpose of the earth, the intent, the meaning that earth has in the universe is that human life is on it. It's never been found any other place, not even remotely. You read all this stuff about people in outer space and so forth. There is no validation for that, and other than pictures that somebody said they had, or, well, some people say they've talked to these little gimlets from outer space. So, but it's all anecdotal. There is nothing research-wise that has validated that. The earth is the place where there is life that has been found. That's pretty unique. I would think then that the life that's on the earth would be important. That's what gives the earth its significance and its distinction among all the heavenly bodies. And the fact that earth has life on it is pretty amazing. It looks like the life should be protected. Well, but if you're not going to have babies, you're not going to have human life here. And then you're going to have life that is on lower levels for a while, maybe, but nothing sentient. So the earth is made for life. That's the bottom line, including human life. And the strongest drive in humans is for the reproduction of human life. That comes from nature. That's not somebody with a sinister political motive that made human beings have that sex drive. That's from human nature. And nature's purpose is it uses the tease of the pleasure to create the baby. Nature's primary interest is not your pleasure. It is the baby that results from it because nature is very adamant about reproduction. So now, but we have scientists that they know more than nature, so they're saying, no, you don't want to do that. We also talked about the fact that nations can't even survive unless they have, this is research, if we're going to talk about science, here's scientific research, that I'm not sure if it's 1.6, 1.5, 1.7, but it's in that area. Maybe it's 1.4, I don't know. But in that area, that each family unit in America and in other nations, it's pretty much the same, has to have that many children on an average across the nation. Now, people don't have 1.6 children. Like, here's my full child and here's my 6/10 of a child. No, it's an average across, which I would figure that you would know. But anyway, it's an average. And without that, the nation declines. I talked about the fact that North Korea and China right now are pretty concerned, urgently concerned about their nations because they've dropped below the level. And that means the population of a nation is declining. And there's all kinds of negative implications to a declining population. Just like climate change is saying there's all kinds of negative implications to a population increasing. Well, vice versa. There's also negatives with the decline. So that's one of the issues. But earlier this month, ABC's Good Morning America interviewed a meteorologist named Ginger Z on whether or not to have children at all. And Z said the issue was a personal one for her, recounting a tense encounter with her sister over her decision to have a second child. her sister was adamantly against that. When I was pregnant, this is a quote from Ginger, when I was pregnant with my second child, my sister said in disappointment, I didn't think you were going to do that again for the planet. She thought that Z was going to adopt a second child and was very disappointed when she went ahead and had a second child. Well, Ginger, I'm proud of you. You had your second child. If you want a third and a fourth and a fifth, get on with it. Have them. There's nothing wrong with it. And they're not going to be a problem. They may be the people that rise up to give all the answers to climate change issues. So where else am I? There was a featured celebrity, I can't remember where right now, but that quoted from Prince Harry and pop star Miley Cyrus, who, I guess these are some kind of experts. But they were in support of limiting children. Prince Harry said that he would have only 2 kids, 2 maximum. And Miley Cyrus said that until I feel like my kid would live on an earth with fish in the water, I'm not bringing in another person to deal with that. Well, there's been fish in the water a long time. There'll be fish in the water when you have a baby, and there'll be fish in the water when your baby dies of old age. This is just taking it to limits that are just ludicrous. People need to have babies. This is the way of nature. In 2021, CNN featured 2 women who expressed anxiety. This is so sad. Anxiety over having a child because of climate change. And there was a newsletter somewhere, a writer that told CNN that women were feeling spooked and anxious. And in some cases, they were fully traumatized as a result of climate change. So, whoever's ramming this down women's throats to make them think that if they're having a baby, they're affecting climate change, you need a spanking. And one of these people said, I quote, I look at my children and I don't know if they're going to be able to live out their full lifetimes, somebody said. Well, let me tell you, anybody that has a child never knows if they're going to be able to live out their full lifetimes. There's never been a time that there's any guarantee that any child would live out their full lifetimes. And before there was whatever you perceive to be climate change, there was all kinds of issues that people had to live with. Bears eat their kids, and polar bears, and everything. There's just all of these issues that are part of life. So to think that, I don't know if my child could live out their life, well, your child may not live out their life. There have been millions of children that didn't live out their life because of war and an innumerable number of other reasons. So somebody quoted said, I'm not a parent and I will not be a parent. And this was an associate professor at one of our major universities. I'm not a parent and I will not be a parent. And they're the head of gender and sexuality studies wherever they teach. So you've got people in college teaching people that it's just terrible. You are a bad person if you're having a baby when the right time comes for you to have that baby. So I just want to say, let me encourage you today. If you want to have a baby and you're married, have a baby. Don't worry about the climate. It'll be all right. God will take care of the climate.